seatbelt, man! Hey, what's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I'm going to be jumping back onto the Bond train with the 22nd film in the massive spy series called Quantum of Solace. Bond is out for revenge in Quantum of Solace after the love of his life, Vesper Lynd, drowned at the end of Casino Royale. On his revenge spree, he runs into a secret plot by an organization known only as Quantum that has to do with yet another natural resource high in demand that they intend to control, manipulating the population into paying them for their supply. So, this is actually my third time reviewing this movie. I've reviewed it twice before in written format, and every single time that I rewatch this movie, I'm reluctant, to say the least. I've always seen Quantum of Solace as easily one of the worst James Bond movies out there, and unfortunately, a lot of that actually has to do with elements that were out of the filmmaker's control behind the scenes. This film was in the stages of pre-production when Hollywood ran into the Writers' Strike of America, which halted the screenwriting process. I hated the Writers' Strike. I hated it. Because I honestly feel like somewhere within the bones of this film lies a very interesting and, again, bold James Bond movie that could have been something incredibly special, but because the Writers' Strike hit, the writing in this movie is understandably meh. They knew this, so most of the writing ended up being stuff that other people who weren't in the Writers Guild put together. Daniel Craig pitched in a few ideas as well, for instance, but nothing felt right. You know, it all felt like filler dialogue in order to get to the next part of the story, and because they didn't have much substance, this is a movie that is filled to the brim with simply action scenes. Now, I do want to be fair here and say that the action in the movie is great. The scenery is often breathtaking, just as it always should be for any good 007 flick. The stunt work as well, top-notch stuff. If you're looking to see an action film just for the sake of being an action film but not have much weight past that, then this movie will work wonders for you. Because that's what you get here. That's exactly what you get. Incredibly hollow storytelling, but mesmerizing action. The problem with mesmerizing action is that without a good, memorable story with emotionally impactful performances, you just won't end up caring much about even the action, which is indeed good. You kind of come to expect a certain atmosphere from James Bond, which I consider to be somewhat complex, but what you get here is a movie that you can turn on in the background and just kind of go about your daily duties. The main thing that this movie has going for it is that at the heart, somewhere deep within the movie, there's a film that has a good idea. As we're talking about a Bond film that continues where the last one left off. It has returning characters like villains. It has references to previous Bond girls. And for the most part, the classic Bond films were mostly standalone, and the idea that this rebooted franchise with Daniel Craig is bigger and different than where we began with Bond, it's definitely a compelling idea, but the execution just isn't there for this movie. I'd be lying if I said that I wanted to see this movie again. As a James Bond completist, I know that if I ever go back and do another series rewatch like I just did, then I'll have to take one for the team and watch Quantum of Solace again, though I don't want to, because it would feel wrong to jump straight over it to get to Skyfall. But honestly, I feel like that's the best thing to do, because there's nothing substantial about this movie. Even the villainous plot is mostly taking yet another page from Goldfinger, where it's just like, let me steal the world's supply of X resource and then sell it back to him to make a profit. And not only that, but they literally copied the shot of the girl painted in gold, and instead of gold, it was oil. And can you blame them? They didn't really have the writing to make anything original, so a touch of fan service was probably in their best interest, so I don't know. In general, I think this movie is incredibly boring and pointless. It mostly just serves as a companion piece to Casino Royale, albeit a mostly optional companion piece at that. From an unbiased technical vantage point, I'll give it props to set design, stunt team, cinematography for making sure that the action in the movie flowed the way that it needed to. If nothing else, it's the action that works the best anyway, but because the writing in the movie is just so disposable, that affects a lot. It affects the film's balance, it affects the dialogue, and dialogue is always important for James Bond quips. It's a lackluster film. What can I say? This unbiased score is 60%. As for my personal bias score, well, I've said it before, but Quantum of Solace is like my least favorite Bond film. I find it a tedious chore to actually get through, and I just don't care about any of these characters, storylines, and because I wasn't invested in that, I wasn't invested in even the action either. This bias score is actually 32%, averaging everything out to a final rating of 46%. 46 out of 100 possible stars, or an F letter grade. Yeah, when it comes down to the series, I think it's just best to skip Quantum of Solace if you can. You're not going to get a ton out of it. If you're a completist, that's fine, I get it, but otherwise, Guys, let me know your thoughts on Quantum of Solace in the comment section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us.